In this video I'm going to talk about Python async await. So I will start by discussing why we need it and when should you use it, and maybe then I will go on to general best practices. So yeah, as I told, let's start with why you need async await. And for that, let's take an example task. So you want to make 10 requests. That's a simple task and we want to do that as quickly as possible. So first let me write a basic version. So it is make request, and all it does is use the requests library and makes a request to any URL. So right now I'm using this particular URL, but you can use anyone, like that doesn't really matter. So yeah, it will return this response. So yeah, let's make the request 10 times. For I in range 10, we will make the request, and also we will print I after every request. So let's see how much time it takes. So I will run time python3 and then the file. So let's see. Okay, it is little bit slow. So it took 100 seconds, which is, so almost every request is taking more than 1 second. And now I will explain to you where actually that 1 second is being used. So let's say this is our Python program and it wants to make a request to a website. So it won't make the request directly, it will give that request to the operating system, whatever that is, Linux, Windows, macOS, whatever that is. So it will give the request with the URL and the data to the OS, and it is responsibility of operating system to make the actual request. So operating system will go to the website and then website will return data, and as data comes in, OS will give the data back to our application. And the 1 second that we see is here by the time when we send the data to a website to the time when website sends the data back. So here we are making a request and here we are getting a response, and the time period between them is around 1 second in this case. And one thing to note here is that in this 1 second, in this 1 second our Python code isn't doing anything, it is just sitting there. So what it can do is it can make another request. So it doesn't need to wait for the response to come, right? Right now we are waiting, so until first request completes we don't move on to the next one. But that doesn't need to be the case because Python is free to do the task by the time it waits for the response. So what basically we want to do is like make request and not wait for the response, or in other words, like make the request but don't block other code while waiting, right? So for that I will use a different library which supports async, and I will show you how that works. So library we are going to use is httpx, and let me show you what it does. So to make a request, we will define the function async. Async means that this function should not block. So the same thing here, like if our request is async, that means that we will send a request but we can still do other tasks in between until the response comes, and this is what async means. So once you can execute this function. So first let me define it. So whenever I will call this function, I am telling Python that okay, run this function but don't wait for the output. I'm putting it wrong. Wait for the output but don't block the code, like still keep executing the other code. Now let's see how that works actually. So for a simpler example, I will do two separate functions. So for a moment ignore this part of the code. All it does is make a request. As client, and then we'll await client.get and then our URL. So yeah, for now don't focus on the syntax, just focus that this is a function which will make a request, but not in a blocking fashion. It won't block the code. And now let's see. So if I will make our main function, which will also be async, and here we will call the make request 2 times. And in the make request, let's also sending request and quote response. Okay, now let's run this main function. And one thing with async functions is like you can only call them in another async function, or you have to use aio.run. Sorry, asyncio.run. Asyncio is a Python library to handle all of the async stuff. Let me remove the terminal for now. So I will do asyncio.run, and then I will call the main function. Now let's run this and see what happens. So you won't actually notice any difference in this case. Okay, how can I? Yep, so it is sending the request, then it got response, then it sent the request again, then it got response. So this is pretty similar to our older code where we were sending the request and then getting the response before moving on to the next one. But as it is async, we can use special things like, so we want to tell Python that execute this code but don't wait for it. Await says that wait for it, but we don't want to do that. So for that we can create it as a task. So you can do asyncio.create task and then send this function in. So this is our task 1. So if you have known little bit of threading, it is like starting a thread. Well, actually internally it is totally different, but yeah, the task represents something like which will get evaluated. And I will call this again with task 2. Well, actually let me make it simpler. So I will call asyncio.gather. Gather means execute many functions at the same time. So I will call the make request twice. So this will run make request function 2 times, and let's see what happens now. And this will be interesting. So as I run this, okay, what the heck is this? Okay, let me run this again. Oh, we need to wait the gather. But still the error is very weird. Yeah, basically now let's see. So we send the request and then we got the response. So you see, like before sending the second request we didn't wait for the response, and that is because of asyncio.gather. So we are saying execute these 2 functions concurrently. Concurrently means at the same time. So execute one function, and when it is waiting, execute another one. So it will be like, it will execute first function which will send the request, and now our first function is waiting. So in that time it will run the second function. Now one thing to note here is it will only move on to the next function when this says that I am waiting. Now let me explain to you what that means. So whenever we call some function by await, or whenever we call an async function, we are saying that okay, so this function will have to wait before giving the output back, before returning the value. So here we are making the request and we are telling Python that this function might take some time to return, and until then you can execute another function. So then it goes to the second make request. What happens if I don't put an await here? If I make the request using the regular request library. So now I'm not telling Python that, so there is no part in this function which tells Python that it can execute another code. So now it will be similar as the previous one, sending the request, got response, sending request, got response, because this function never frees Python, right? Now let me also show you another thing. So here is a function which also doesn't free Python, but if I call that function in, then Python will print send request 2 times, then got response. Well, that's weird. Let me put multiple awaits. Okay, I will use a different example for this. So this I will show after a little while, otherwise that will get little bit complicated. So yeah, basically the point was that if you don't use await, if you don't use async function inside another async function, then there is no use, right? Like there is no time when you are waiting here. You have task to do. So async cannot work here. Async only works when you have to wait for something, and then you can say like, while I am waiting for that, execute this function. So gather is like this. So gather is one example where you can put multiple async functions and it will run all of them. The second way is the task one, which I was going to show. Create task and then you provide the function. Okay, sorry, let me also bring that back. Yep, so we have task 1, we have task 2, and let's say we, well actually it might be a little weird, like let's say we sleep for 3 seconds. So you will also see that like this is async sleep, this is different from our normal time.sleep, because this async won't block, right? So in general case, the sleep is also similar to making request. You tell operating system that wake me up after n seconds, and then operating system sends a signal that okay, you need to wake up. But in general code, we don't do anything at this time, we just wait for OS to wake us up. But in the async version, you can still execute another code. So in this case, by the time we are sleeping for 2 seconds, task 1 and task 2 will still be executing, and here we can do sleep completed. So you will see that within 2 seconds both the request will be completed. So it sent the request, it got the response, and then the sleep completed. So this is the task 1 where you can like create the task and it will keep running in the background. as soon as it gets chance to run anything, then it will, basically it will switch between different tasks. And how it decides which task to pick next is the event loop. So event loop is like a list of async functions which tells like what to do next. So there will be like task 1, task 2, task 3. By the way, if you want to, like, there is one talk which is quite famous on event loop, and I will definitely recommend that focuses on JavaScript, but the core idea is similar in this one. So I will leave this in the description. I definitely recommend you, but I will try to explain little bit of what is in that talk. So event loop is like a queue of tasks, and what Python does is like it will pick the first task, keep executing it until it says that now I will have to wait. So let's take an example in our cases. So what could it be? First we say to Python, so at the start event loop is empty. So at this place event loop is empty. Then we provide the main function. So Python knows that it has to execute main function. Now as soon as Python will be free, it will execute this function. And here we are not running anything, so Python is free at the first time, so it will run the main function. Now it is executing main. So it is here. Then we say Python, run this function whenever you get some time. So it will put this function in the queue. Then we say run this function whenever you get some time. Then we say now wait for, like, send a request to operating system for like for 2 seconds of sleep, and then move on from here when OS returns. So Python sends the signal to operating system about waking up after 2 seconds, and then Python is free in those 2 seconds. So it will pick the first task, make request 1, and then it will start executing this. And when it goes into make request function, it first prints this, it sets up the client, and then it make the request. And as soon as it makes the request, what are we saying? Like, we are saying that we have sent a request and we have to run the code whenever response comes. We have to run the rest of the code whenever the response will come, but you don't need to stuck here, you can execute another code. So now as we are waiting for the response, Python is free, so Python will execute the another scheduled task. So it will start executing this, and as response comes, it will execute those particular codes. I think I was able to explain it. If not, please refer to this video. I mean, this is one of the classics on event loop. Okay, so this was basically it. So you define an async function and you call it by gather to run multiple functions at the same time, or you just create task, or a similar function to create task is ensure future. So basically this is the way you can run the code concurrently without having to wait for the whole response to come. And one thing you will note here is like you cannot make async function work in cases where you don't have to wait. So let's say some math calculation where we are not actually waiting for anything. In those cases async won't work. You can use multiprocessing, but async won't work. Async can work in the cases when you have to make network request where you are waiting for server to respond. It can work for file system handlings where you have to wait for OS to return the values and read things. It can work for sleep, And what else? Yeah, you can make it work for user input too. So there are like few examples like this where your code has to wait. You can use async to improve its performance. Okay, so back to our first task. We want to make 10 requests in as little time as possible. So now you most probably know what I'm going to do. I'm going to async your.gather and running the 10 functions. So it will be make request for I in range 10. Okay, so it will make 10 requests, and let's see how much time it takes. It took less than 2 seconds instead of the previous 11 seconds, and you can see like it sends all of the requests at once, and then as response comes the code finishes actually. So that's the main thing. And now one more thing that I would like to explain is like, if you don't know, then calling a async function doesn't actually run it. So if I will just do make request, well, you can also see an error, but still it will run fine. It won't actually make any request. It does show an error, and the error is like there is this particular async task that was never scheduled. This is what it all says. Like there was an async task, but you never actually put it into the event loop. How can you put it into the event loop? You can do an await. Await means that run this task, whenever this response, execute the rest of the code. And if you don't want to block it, then you can use create task. Create task says execute this function whenever you get the time, and before that keep executing the rest of the part. So I think that will be clear if I do this. If there is a create task, then we are scheduling this, but we are still executing the rest of the things. So first it will print this, then it will make the request. Oh sorry, we already quit. So after the print, the function quits, but this is not yet executed. So I will wait for 2 seconds. So it is after create task we are making the request, but so we are making the request when we are asleep. So we say like make the request whenever you get some time, but right now print this and sleep for 2 seconds, and now it is sleeping, then it gets the time to execute make request. But if I do await, then it is different. It says like make the request, and once it finishes, move on. So first we will make the request, and then we will print after create task, as you can see here. So yeah, main idea was make request itself. Calling make request won't do anything unless you await it. Unless you await it, or yeah, give it to some another async function that can schedule it. So you have to schedule it, otherwise it won't do anything. And yeah, basically that is pretty much it. Show blocking await. Oh yeah, so this is also an important thing. Let's make an async function which actually blocks everything, so it doesn't wait for anything, like it doesn't free Python. So we'll make requests 10 times, but using our regular requests library. So in this function we are not using await or anything, so Python will never get freed. It will have to make 10 requests, but it will block everything. So what I mean by that, if I do asyncio.gather, I call make request blocking, and then I call make request, our regular one. Let me name this blocking. and let's add a print statement. So although I have said that execute both of these functions concurrently, Python will have to finish the blocking function first. And you can see like it is executing 0, 1, 2 in this one, but it is not going to make request function. And the reason for that is, as there is no await, although this is an async function, but the function itself blocks everything, right? Like it never frees Python. So this is kind of the worst case where you tell Python that this is an async function, but this is actually not an async function. It blocks everything, and this is known as blocking the event loop. So you see like it made all the 10 requests, then it moved on to the next function because now the blocking was finished. So while this function was running, it blocked the event loop. It blocked Python, so no other task can execute at that time. And as soon as I move it to an async implementation, now as soon as Python hits await, it knows that this code will have to wait here sometime, so it can move on to the next task while the response comes. So you can see sending request, got response. For the second one, sorry, for this one, we send the request and got the response, and the rest of this is still executing. Sometimes you might get this response for 0 first. Let's see. No, still not. Okay, still not. There's something weird, like we are getting, yes, this time we got. So this shows like both were running parallel, not actually parallel, both were running concurrently. So basically both of these functions made the request and both were waiting for the response. So anyone can get the response first based on the network conditions. And that is pretty much on async await. Remember to watch this video. I would definitely recommend it, like, yeah. And I will also leave Python async documentation. I think it is more of a guide rather than documentation. Yeah, actually I will leave a link to this so you can take a look at different topics and things. Yeah, see you in the next one.